starring actual real brothers Jason Spivey and his little brother Brandon.
Hey, welcome back to Real Brothers, week 16. 2 weeks left in the season, guys, and we're going to be all wrapped up. So, guys, I know you're going to miss us in the off season. You're going to miss us, Jason?
No, I'll probably still see you.
I think they're going to miss us, though.
Oh, they'll still see us.
We'll
We'll find a way.
Uh,
They might not like what we talk about, but they're going to see it.
yeah, I agree. Well, we're down to the final four, and you
We're
are
on
one
that.
of them.
I'm
So
one
you've
of them.
been waiting for your opponent. How you feeling about your matchup? Pretty much knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I got to the point where I thought I'm going to get to. From this point on, if I get further, it's bonus. I still feel like, even though we're recording this after Puka blew up last night, but I feel like I'm still not completely out of it. Took a little hit with receiver Price going down, but
Mm-hmm.
since he has been my number one receiver, but being able to pick up Evans earlier this year, and then seeing the thing actually yesterday where Doomsday's down, Luther Burden went down, and DJ Moore's just sitting out there as a waiver or as a free agent. So I went ahead and picked him up too, just in case.
Dude. Like, the rich get richer. And I mean, I'm not even mad at you because I mean, obviously we're checked out as far as us
Right.
that are not, not in the playoffs. I told you earlier, I got a guy who didn't even suit up last night, sitting in my starting lineup just because I don't have anything to play for.
But at the end of it, I know we've got a lot to talk about, but kind of the where we've been talking about with the final four, it's kind of shaped up how we talked about it. The final two, I know we kind of talked off camera.
Yeah,
It's kind of the two we've been talking about all year. So.
sure. Yeah, it's kind of funny because it's one of those things where I don't know that I'm happier about it, but like I guess I kind of am that there's no upsets, so it's chalk, and that's not so exciting.
Yeah.
But it is nice for the sake of the teams that have been the good teams all year, the better teams all year, and I feel like it's been pretty noticeably different between you four and then the rest of the league.
Yeah,
You know what I
it
mean?
did. I mean, for everybody that was still having a chance at the end of the season, we
They
talked
made
about-
moves and got close into the conversation.
Yeah,
but
and
just
they
the
talked-
overall body of work.
But yeah, the top four kind of separate. I mean, actually top three, because even Scott, he's kind of in and out,
Yeah, for sure.
as you guys battled
Yeah.
for that division. And then where he kind of those last 2 or 3 weeks kind of took over. Then he just kind of got up into that.
Yeah, I think what got lost with Scott, and the more reason I still consider him in that group, I think is he got kind of lost in the fact of where his total points was for the season, and while his record was never the thing that stood out, he never dropped below 3 or 4 in total scoring.
Yeah.
And so that
And the only time that we really even talked about him more recently dropping was that game where he was having everybody on bye week. Jamar Chase was suspended.
yeah.
Because then we're talking like, this week he's obviously got a rough week, but everything comes back for him,
Mhm.
and of course it has.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like it all played out how it should have played out on paper.
Yeah.
We kind of went through all the worst case scenarios when we're talking about it throughout the course of the season. So, but I guess it's reassuring to know that the bright four teams need to be there. Nobody just kind of got there by lucking into the playoffs and then getting some freakish,
Right.
Kyle Pitts 46-point game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah. Because that's the kind of move that kind of ruins it for a team that's been good all year.
yeah,
Uh,
and that's kind of
to
gonna
get put out by a freak game by one guy.
Mhm.
That didn't happen for us this year.
Yeah, and that kind of leads me to something you and I talked about off camera, and something I'll wait to talk about when we're kind of talking about your game specifically a little bit more in regards to that and with your kicker last night. So, but other than that, guys, we're gonna kind of take a second here. We're gonna reevaluate what direction we want to go here coming out of the break. We'll dive back in. It's probably not going to be a typical show. We're kind of running out of things to talk about, things to do. But I do want to kind of get everybody on the same page about what to look forward to coming up. And obviously, we'll be dropping some knowledge on y'all along the way.
Yep. Be right back.
All right, stick around, guys.
Hey there, fish boy. I got a front seat open for you today. Try not to lick the windows this time.
Short bus driver, your license has expired.
All right, welcome back. We're gonna go ahead and dive right into the couple games we have going on here of importance this week. First game being Big Fish versus Short Bus Driver sitting here to my left. You're right. I'm not sure what direction they're going to be on screen anymore. We're in an upside down world apparently.
I'm next to you.
Oh, there you are. But and I also hope you guys enjoyed the little video clip that I probably should have just installed right in front of this.
Yeah.
So we'll be doing things like that obviously next year. So I'm just dabbling with some new things, some new ideas, and it'll start to make sense to you guys. The questions I'm asking in our group text. But anyway, let's go ahead and dive right in here, man.
Game one, obviously myself versus Big Fish. And Dan, we're recording this on Friday, so, Dan's already off to a roaring start. Kind of like last week where both teams jumped out early. With a big performance on Thursday nights.
So, like, the 49 from Puka is not really that alarming. And gosh, dude, I wouldn't be surprised if he's not averaging 30 here in the last 6 weeks. And he's been
Well, when Devontae Adams went down, too, you're just wondering one, will they key on him and try to take him away?
I don't think there's any stopping him.
But it's like JSN, you can't take him away.
Yeah, so he's just so good. But I really think that's, I think you can overcome that and withstand it. I remember Scott actually had a game earlier this year where he had a guy, and it may have been Kyle Pitts or AJ Brown. It was one of the two, had a 40-something game on a Thursday night. And Scott, gets off to that rocking and roaring start and ends up getting beat pretty easily on Sunday.
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean you're out just because he throws up a big.
No, especially this time of season when you've got guys that's routinely put up 30s and 40s. Still hanging around.
Yeah, it'd be different if that was in a flex or something.
Yeah, I'm not really counting myself out yet by any means. Obviously, I've got 3 or 4 guys that's hit that 30, 40 mark more than once.
I do feel it's noteworthy, and this is what I was touching on in the opener about the kicker. I think it's noteworthy, man, that in a 35 or plus point game, that you had a kicker only put up 2 points. And what's just struck me as so odd was A, that it was 2 points, B, that it was only 2 extra points, and C, that there wasn't also any kind of missed field goal opportunities.
No, he didn't miss any points.
So he really only went out there and attempted 2 extra points in a 36 or 7 point game for his team.
Yeah, it's
The weirdest thing.
crazy how a game went that many touchdowns. Then it just got to the point where the 2-point conversions.
And I know you told me this story, and I'm gonna lob this up for you. Maybe be a good little story to kind of drop in here. But I find it hard, and it's going to happen. It's just the way fantasy football is. But if you were to get beaten, I'm going to track the difference between the kickers in your game this week. But if that number becomes, a pretty lopsided difference from your kicker to his, is that going to be what ended up costing you a championship?
Yeah, actually, what's more concerning to me about what happened yesterday is the 2 from a kicker who's been averaging double digits.
And that was he's like a 1 or 2 kicker, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
So that's what I worry about more than anything. When you couple that is, he's been a number 1, number 2 kicker all year long. I lose Mahomes, I lose Rashid Rice, and then a number 1, number 2 guy at his position just lays an egg.
Yeah.
So that's the concerning part.
Yeah, and I get that for sure. So, again, I would feel awful if that's what ends up being the end of your season. But that's where the luck comes into it. And
yeah, and I know we kind of talked all season, whenever we first started talking about the whole kicker thing, and I kind of told you about, I played in another league with some friends of mine. It's a dynasty league. And 2018 was our first year with that league. I won the Super Bowl in that league by 1.3 points on a last-second garbage play.
meaning it's like game's over.
Yeah, it was just a throw that didn't even go for a touchdown. It was just a 30-yard at the end of the game.
Kind of gets you over another threshold.
Yeah, and it gave me a couple more points, and it was win by 1.3.
To win a Super Bowl. Yeah.
The kicker thing could come back and be the thing that that gets me more than anything.
Is that kind of thorn in the side? Well, I guess it would be karma, huh? If you won one, you got to lose one that way, I guess.
Yeah, you played enough years of fantasy football. You see it happen. It's just part of the game. It's the exciting part of the game. Actually.
It is. It's one of those. It's fun. It's fun from the outside looking in.
It sucks when it happens to you in the moment. But when you look back, you got the story to tell.
Yeah.
Every time you guys get together, it's like,
Yeah, and I think
I gave you that one.
I think that's like another just fun aspect of
Yeah.
fantasy football. So, Dare we kind of dive down to the other side over there and looking at,
Yeah,
this roster?
I say we maybe just kind of go position by position and kind of talk about
Yeah,
it.
that'd be great. Because I
two
also want to
games.
ask about what you're feeling on your quarterback situation.
Well, so I picked up two of them. I actually tried to pick up McCarthy, but I think Scott had the better waivers than me.
Okay.
Beat me to him. So I picked up the guy from New Orleans and the one from Atlanta with Cousins.
Yeah.
I'm 50-50 on that still.
You still wavering that one?
Yeah, along with some other things that I've done this week, I'm still 50-50 on. I'm just kind of watching the news on practices and then kind of going to watch. It's probably going to be a weather report kind of game to me. Somebody playing in rain and somebody's playing in a dome.
I mean, I had to have
That
this,
might be what happens.
I've had to have this conversation with Drew. Like, dude, when it gets to November, you need to start thinking about weather and how that can influence the game. I mean, you're putting wide receivers on the field.
When you're going to have a couple
snowstorm.
games like this weekend, it's going to be. I think Cleveland's a home game. The Chicago Packers game is going to be out in some questionable weather. So there's going to be some of those this week. So it's probably going to come down to who's got maybe the better conditions this week.
Yeah, I agree.
Both of those being dome teams. So, I'm kind of 50-50 on that. And then he's got Dak, which has been playing okay this year.
What's his position rank holding up at this point? Do you know?
His position rank right now for the year, he's 6 overall.
That's not bad. I know he's kind of.
Yeah.
He's kind of been laying some eggs here and there. It seems like a little bit more recently.
Yeah, it seems like it's
he'll
boom
throw
or
up-
bust. It's
Yeah,
not more of
it's kind of that
capacity.
roller coaster you're kind of used to with
Yeah.
Cowboys.
Yeah, because Cowboys is they had big games from Pickens, big games from Land, and then a lot of big games from Javonte Williams.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
So, and then of course with his other position that's tied to Dak is his tight end.
Yeah.
He was playing at a number one caliber tight end for most of the season. He's kind of came back to reality a little bit. Is he relying a lot on that Cowboy?
Yeah, I mean it's the tight end position just in general has been a wonky conversation.
Yeah, we've talked
on
about it a
camera,
lot.
off camera. I've talked about that position a lot, and it's hard to make sense of it.
Yes, I mean, there's going to be one or two tight ends that have really good weekends every week, but do you have the guy or not? They're not going to consistently just put up
Yeah, I think
12, 18, 20 points.
it gets kind of done.
So, yeah, and then moving on to running backs, I do like Dan's running backs, 1 through 3. He plays a 3 running back like I do. I do like mine a little bit better, but his could very well outscore mine.
Who's his third?
Henderson.
Oh yeah.
They've
So
got
he's
Henderson.
playing him now
Well, yeah, so I think he only plays him when
when we talk about him.
talk about him, yeah.
Oh, I gotcha. Good job,
So-
Dano.
So you look at the running back situation, I think I have a little bit of an edge. My 1-2 is better than his 1-2, and I think my flex is on par with his flex.
Dude, I mean, I'm not going to have until a team supplants your running back room. I'm not even going to entertain a
Right.
conversation. So
But where he does have the advantage of me is in number receivers, obviously. He's already got 49 points out of his receiver room. If I get 49 points total,
who the Lions playing this week?
who do they play this week? Pittsburgh.
That'll be an interesting game. Is that in Pittsburgh? Do you know?
I can't tell. My eyes can't take it.
No. Yeah, that'll be. I mean, that Amon Ra is going to be a big one, man.
The one thing that I got going for me there is I've actually seen even an interview with the coach on, they're doing less of that 50-50 split at running back, and it's gone more of 70-30. They even asked the coach about how Monty's handling that and everything like that. And, it is a thing over the past 4 or 5 games that they've kind of tailed him back a little bit, but he's still scoring.
He is. I mean, it's it's a little bit different. I think it's a little bit different capacity. I also think it probably bodes well for them when you're thinking about playoffs and longevity of just the team and just kind of in general. But no, I'm always going to stand by your running backs in this league as far as any kind of matchup situation, and I will take that to include his Henderson in that flex. So that being said, I have to take everything into account, man. And as much as I want to root for you, because I actually want to see Dan go down, man. I think his ego's getting a little bit out of control. I think he's, one more Super Bowl visit away from letting us hear about it. But I think if he's a Super Bowl winner, I think we have just unleashed the beast. So I need somebody to take him down for for the sanity of the rest of the league.
Yeah, I feel you, but I don't get to where I'm, hey, let's just completely write off Dan either. Though I mean, he does bring a lot of excitement to a lot of
No,
a
no,
lot of
Dan-
the fun of the league is from Dan.
Yeah, Dan's great. No, I love
So-
him. I love him.
But you're right. If he wins the Super Bowl, whether it's this year, next year, or whenever, we will never end it here.
Yeah, I mean, it will be 2 out of his first 3 years in Super Bowl appearance. I mean, what else can we say to that?
yeah.
So
20 years from now, we'll see it on his headstone that says something about that Super Bowl win.
Yeah, dude, I think I played in probably 20 fantasy football seasons and maybe been to 1 or 2 Super
He can
Bowls.
take out an ad in the paper.
Well, he deserves it at that point, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's where we're looking for you to take him down, man.
Yeah.
Keep the young ones out of the young fantasy players out of the Super Bowl spot.
But when you look at my wideouts, though, I've got a lot of work to do compared to his.
Yeah, I'm picking Dan.
Especially with
Oh yeah, I'm picking Big Fish.
with Rasheed going down
That's what I
and
got.
Justin
right.
Jefferson not
He's
getting. I mean, it's amazing how you see number one receivers. They find a way to get the ball to them, but there's number one receivers they can't figure out how to get the ball to them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like even last night, the first quarter with Puka, they found 4 or 5 ways, whether it was, and it wasn't more than 2 yards, 4 yards, but they found a way to get him involved early.
Yeah.
And then it paid off late. It's like Justin Jefferson, go over there and just run down the field and we'll play over here.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many teams that just can't do that,
Yeah.
And I think it's more of a quarterback problem.
But I mean, you know how it is sometimes in fantasy football. You ride with a guy, you ride with a guy, you ride with a guy that's like a name like that, and then guess what happens when you put him on the bench?
he blows up and
Yeah.
shows you why he's who he
That
is.
guy.
Yeah. So, I mean,
So expect a Justin Jefferson game this weekend, guys.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think your back's up against the wall. I mean, I think it's for nothing more than that bye week for you came at a cost. I mean, obviously it's not relative because it's not your team and you're
Yeah.
sitting on a bye week. These players weren't sitting at home.
Yeah.
They were out there playing and they took some wear and tear for it. I think that losing Mahomes there, not that he was really setting the world on fire either,
No.
but it's there.
Yeah.
It's there at any point to do that, and to know that that's not there now.
Yeah, he was going to
guess
at least be a steady work, double digit guy. He wasn't going to give you that 8-point game.
Right.
Even when he got hurt, he was in double digits. And then the kicker to that is when you got Rice, the number one receiver there, and you go play with a backup quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's
Now
actually
he's out
hurt.
too, yeah.
So it's okay. We're reeling again.
And you're already a sketchy wide receiver room anyway, so now you're sketchy at quarterback and receiver.
So we're counting on 2 as of right now. I've got Jefferson out, and I'm relying on 2 wideouts that are new to the team. So maybe some guys come in and make some impact. They know what's expected to be on our team. They know.
I'm just sitting here pondering. I mean, in my head, what is the only way I can see you win this game? And the way I see it, I gotta see a 50 spot from McCaffrey. Can McCaffrey put up 50?
If McCaffrey or Gibbs can counteract what Puka did, I got a shot.
So can McCaffrey put up 50 against the Colts?
Not against the Colts, but I think Gibbs might have the better chance this week.
I can't bank on that. I'm going to pick Dan here reluctantly,
I'm going to pick him here,
but it's just because he's coming in full firepower and you're not, and I think he's got enough to withstand your.
yeah, and I've known all year long when it came to crunch time when we were splitting hairs at the end of the season, my receivers, I never got, as many moves as I made for receivers, I've never found that gem.
And this is something I've always said, and I've never said it on this show, but I feel like it's kind of a common thing in sports. It is hard to beat somebody 3 times in the same season.
Oh, it's anything, yeah.
Have you not beat Dan twice this year?
Yes, I have. That's the thing.
So there's that too. I think everything is in the cards for Dan to, exact his revenge this weekend. And if nothing more, I hope you're able to keep it close and have a shot into Monday night and give McCaffrey a chance. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice if I get it down into that you know, even if it's a blow up kind of game, but it's something that is actually worth watching,
Right.
and making it close.
Yeah.
That's all I can really ask for.
Yeah, I agree. So I got Dan.
Yeah, I actually got Dane on this, and you know, we've been talking all year long. We've always had Dane in our top two
Yeah, the only reason
pretty much
we,
every week, other
Yeah.
than a few weeks.
I mean, I remember the show when I actually elevated him over you,
Yeah.
and I had an announcement about it, and it took him a while to get there because that was always the knock, is we could really never elevate him above you.
Yeah.
But even though you beat him twice, I put him above you even at that time.
Yeah.
With a better record, with a loss against you, because I just felt like his team was just a little more rounded out.
But yeah, but he's always been probably more times than not in our top two power rankings. And if you had asked us week 6, I think we would have probably both said he would have been there at the end.
I think so.
So yeah,
I think we probably would pick his Final Four after week 2.
yeah.
We'll be right back, guys. I'm gonna stop here for a sec. And no, I don't have to pee, Jason.
Did you really think I was gonna let you come in here and take me down?
Well, I've run the numbers, boss, and one of us is right and one of us is standing up.
You ready?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, welcome back. I hope you guys enjoyed that little clip. Should have dropped another one in right there. So that's what we're going to be working on, guys. Some new things coming in next year. If that went the way I hope it did, you guys should have just seen a little animated video. That's kind of how we'll introduce games moving into next season. That's also why I'm asking for the
Pictures.
the individual pictures of each of you guys.
Or some
because-
sound clips.
Yes, because I want to be able to incorporate the owners into these. I want to create a character for you guys and your team based off of your likeness, and be able to use it for all season next year. So that's kind of what I'm working towards. But anyway, that being said, let's go ahead and dive into this next game.
Next game, Warden versus I Know Ball.
Ooh, this will be a good one.
Well, we're down to the Final Four. They should all be good at this point.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
You know, this being Friday, JSN's already put up a 23, which is pretty good number. Nothing too out of the norm, though.
I mean, so that's why I was looking at this paper just a minute ago, Jason. I couldn't remember what I was looking at, and that's what it was. You were talking about JSN and his numbers. So that's a good number,
It is a good number.
but I almost feel like for the wide receiver one in fantasy football, it's really not.
No, I mean, receiver one, I think that's just an average number for receiver one.
Yes, and that was kind of my point, and that's why I'm looking back here. They're not going to know yet what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
but we're going to establish a number to that position, and we're going to do it later on in the show for you guys. I'll kind of make some sense of this, but I have a number sitting in front of me of 19, Jason. So really, he was only +4 over average.
Yeah.
So really, how good is that when you're in the playoffs and you got your number one receiver out there?
But on the year as a number one receiver, his average is 22.5 a game. He scored 23. So, like I said,
Average.
average game for the number one overall receiver.
Mhm.
Which basically I don't think favors him or hurts him. I think you got the toss up out of him. You got par. Is the thing.
Yeah, and I think the reason I bring it up is because as we look over I Know's roster, I have a little bit of questions on JT. And given the fact that they're going to stick with this Phillip Rivers re-experiment,
Well, yeah, and that's just going to stack the box. And
I mean, how difficult is it going to be for JT the rest of the season? So, and not that Braden needs him for the rest of the season, but he needs him for the rest of his season, and that could either be 1 week or 2 weeks. But that does make me a little bit fearful. I feel like Braden might need one of those guys to pop off, and we're seeing JSN kind of just hit his average numbers. Can JT go 30 plus? Because that's where we're looking at.
yeah, but that's assuming what on the other side Achane does.
HN is. Can you
Because
pull
I
up
think-
HN real quick? Because I think he's still holding the third rank in
He's
running back.
5.
He dropped to 5.
Yep.
What's his average per game?
23.
23 per game. So he's actually averaging more than JSN. So an average game for Devon Achane this
Yeah.
week is going to cancel out and then some.
Right. So then you're looking at everybody else.
Yeah, and there again ties back into my concern there with JT.
So then do you say, does JT match Jamar Chase?
That's got kind of where we're getting, when you start to go through a cancel out process, and we're going to get down to the nitty gritty of these rosters pretty quick.
Yeah, because I think it's going to get down into the twos and the flex on this game here. We're talking about Brees Hall and Genty
Yes.
against ETN and Harvey.
And that's where the problem therein lies if you're the Warden.
Yeah.
I hate to say it because I feel like Scott has a fantasy career that is probably a little bit better than mine, but does kind of embody some of my same kind of successes or failures for the most part, where we just can't seem to string it together and get a Super Bowl win. We'll have good seasons here and there.
Yeah, so both of these teams are nowhere near what they were doing at the beginning of the season. Right now, as it stands, Warden's got McCarty in against Dark. Both of those are not the quarterbacks they anticipated having at this point in the season.
Yeah.
And
We talked
that
about-
could be very well just a push right there.
And it could very well be, but we did talk about the numbers that Dart was putting up earlier on in the season. We haven't dove back into it since, but I know he's not doing too much to hurt that. You might be able to give his average per game there. It should be based off of how much he's played.
18,
What's his last 2 and 3?
26, 13, 22.
Yeah, okay. So
But-
that 13 might be.
But a
one
couple
of his
games
best.
being missing for injury in there too, so those concussions.
Yeah, so and then obviously he had no Wandell last week too, so even his resources keep getting
Yeah,
diminished.
and that is the one thing I think is kind of another push there when you look at the two teams, the number 2 wideout with Waddle against T. Higgins. That's a little bit of a push right there.
There's a lot of pushes up and down this roster so far, but then again, I go back to A with Genty to ETN. I got ETN trending in a much better direction. I mean, substantially. And Brees Hall has not been put. I mean, he was really putting up solid numbers for the better part of the
he's
season.
averaging 14 on the year.
But I feel like that number has dropped in the past few weeks.
But yeah, I mean, he had a 16 and a 17, but we got a 7, a 6, an 8. That's in that last 5 weeks.
Yeah.
So his average in the last 5 weeks is down around 12, 13 points.
And it's kind of what it seems like too.
Yeah.
That's what the eye test tells me. So again, going based off of what's trending right now, being that these rosters are kind of so close up and down, if you could figure what their averages are going to be based off of what we've seen, I think it's going to come down to those two.
So as we're
players.
talking about this is turning out the heck of a game because
Yeah.
if the quarterbacks are going to kind of be a push, and we talked about JT and JSN being real comparable to Ashan and Chase, if that's kind of a wash. The number 2 wideouts are a wash. The only big difference we've talked about is that second running back, the flex. I do think Braden's got a little bit of advantage at tight end just because of he's got number 1 overall.
Well, I mean, but we talked also about how substantial that difference is, and look at
And number 1 has separated.
Yeah. Oh, look at his last 2 games.
Yeah, it's
He put up 40 again last week, I believe.
Yeah, it's so there could be your difference maker again. Yeah, when he's averaging 19 a game.
19 points as a tight end. Dude, the number 2 receiver averages 19 points. So, and the tight end position itself averages 10. So he's almost doubling the position itself by himself.
Yeah, and then the other thing that we talked about when we talked about my game was the kicker. A kicker that's number 1 overall, scoring double digits routinely, only putting up 2 points. He's kind of got the same thing with his defense. Number 1 defense overall, averaging 10 points a game. It gets 3 out of it.
So
So is that going to be
where
thing
the
Hawks
difference
in?
for me is, I feel like Braden is a leg up on this matchup, and he could withstand it a little bit better.
Yeah.
I feel like you were
Well, yeah.
with your injuries. I don't feel like you can withstand a hole like that.
Yeah, he has some guys that can help pick him up with McBride, obviously.
Yeah.
A potential with JT.
And I do see a little bit of an uptick on Dart over McCarthy based on the body of work. I'm not saying McCarthy won't outscore him this week, but if I'm going based off my gut right now, I'm going to say Dart will probably outscore him by a good 5 or 6 points.
Yeah, but I mean, even Dart does have, they're going against the Vikings. I know the Vikings has been a good team overall, but that's a tough defense.
Sure.
So there could, I'm not going to say Dart's going to blow up for sure on that. That's the cool thing. Their quarterbacks are actually playing each other also. So.
Yeah, so playing each other and
It might depend on how that game turns out.
yeah, and it'll be interesting to see, but I do think this is just going to kind of come down to a few positions, and I'm going to have to give my tip of the cap to I know ball. It kind of goes.
Yeah, I think he has a little bit of the edge, just having that advantage with McBride. A little better advantage in the flex spot, the number 2 running back.
So let me ask you a question. Does that mean you got I know ball?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you a question based on the fact that again you got 3 of the 4 teams in the Final Four that are scrambling in the quarterback position. Isn't that odd? So there's got to be something to be said about that fact alone. But given these adjustments that you guys are having to make, I'm a little more curious about what your thoughts are on this game than yours and Dan's, just because I feel like Scott and Braden collectively score higher.
Yeah,
Do you see this one going over 150, or do you feel like this is going to be a lower?
No, I think this is going to be that 120, 130
a little bit more of a grind out.
Yeah, I mean
That's kind of what I thought too.
both of these teams have relied on those blow up games all year long.
And I think this is going to be one where they just kind of got to go down and the best team wins, really.
Yeah, and when you look at teams like I know ball when he was relying on a Lamar Jackson and Egbuka and names like that was giving him those huge numbers, and none of these guys are in his line.
I know.
With exception of Riley.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it's like I want to Braden's doing the right thing. He's making all the right moves, but for the guy that changed his name based on
the videos,
his commitment to Egbuka.
Yeah.
But I guess that shows why he knows ball, because he knows when to sitting too.
Yeah, like I said, I would not be surprised with the Scott win here. I'm going to take Braden just because I think he was the better team overall. But this could very well go the other way.
Yeah, and so for me, I'm a little bit surprised at the Cam pull. I understand you make sense of it. I get it from that standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's hard for me to wrap my head around Scott doing that move for some reason. It just doesn't seem like a traditional Scott move, but I applaud him for it. But I think in order for Scott to win, I think it's gonna have to be Genty, and I think Genty's gonna have to have a multiple touchdown game and probably over 25 to 30 points.
Yeah, what I think it takes for Scott to win is putting Caleb in and having Caleb have one of his good games, which is he's playing the Packers. I see why he's made the move.
I get it.
But if he gets a good Caleb game, even though 2 of their wideouts are hurt there, Caleb's better game is better than McCarthy's better game, I believe.
Well, you know what? I
think he would need the good game from Caleb to overcome what Braden has.
So I asked earlier, didn't the Packers just play the Bears? So what did Caleb score in that game that has Scott so scared about that? Because
it could just be very well down to
the matchup of
Burden and Odunze being
okay.
hurt.
Because the one thing that I felt like we've talked about, me and Scott even off camera, but the off script plays seem to be where Caleb Williams has been finding his groove, and against the defense in the Packers and not Micah Parsons, but but against the defense in the Packers, I feel like is going to present a lot of unscripted and off-script plays that would kind of feature him to be able to kind of excel in his kind of natural style.
The Green Bay game at Green Bay put up 14. This one was at Chicago.
So what do you think home field gives you? Another 10?
Well, I don't know if it gives you another 10 or not, but I think the ceiling's higher with Caleb, and he needs more of a ceiling game to win this one.
Yeah.
So I think he needs those.
What's McCarthy's boom so far? Can we get that? What's his highest? I mean, we know
he had actually a good week last week.
I was but we know Caleb can get into the 40s.
Yeah, he's got a 21 the first week, 23 last week, everything else. So 3 times over at 20 or more, and 23 being the high. So which was last week. Like
I'm
I said, I mean,
I might back you on that. I might agree.
McCarty might actually beat Caleb in the long run this week, but I think what Scott needs to
I get
win
what
the
you're saying.
game is that ceiling game
He needs Williams to be better
to have one of his games.
and to be in the lineup better.
Yes.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So-
And I don't disagree there.
Yeah, I'm not so opposed to the move that he made.
No, I see what
I just think that's what he
yeah,
needs.
I think it makes complete sense and I get it. I can understand it. I agree. I mean, for whatever it is, I think we talk about the boom players. Scott's going to need one or two booms. In this conversation, I just don't feel like we are too really worried about anybody booming on Braden's team. I'm not too concerned about JT booming. Definitely not with Dart, and JSN's already played and he didn't boom.
And McBride. Though.
And McBride, but a boom for him is
It's
24 points.
A boom for him is well up into the 20s.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Like, so again, I don't think it's just as insurmountable as it might seem.
No, no, I see what you're saying there. But just what we've talked about with Genty and Brees Hall, though. And how,
Oh, I'm picking I know ball.
Yeah, I know that. But if one of them guys has a boom game for Scott, that changes everything.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I mean, I'm with you. If I wouldn't be surprised, Scott. I'm not surprised by anything at this point. You guys are all deserving to be here. So this isn't a game where
Yeah,
we're
this
going
is
to have.
splitting hairs kind of stuff.
We're not going to have an upset. Whoever wins any of these games, it's not an upset. You guys are all
Yeah.
equally as good. So
Yeah, and there's a lot to talk about in this game when you think about, each team has the Bengals wideouts here in the lineup. The Bengals being out of it, Joe Burrow being disgruntled. What's really going to happen there? You got Ashan with Tua getting benched for Quinn Ewers.
hang on real quick. Back up just a second. Did you just actually openly discuss Joe Burrow being disgruntled and like the possibility that he might not want to be there?
Yeah.
Didn't I talk about this a month
We
ago?
talked about this last week,
last week.
maybe 2 weeks ago.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
but we were out front of that story. That's
Yep.
Touch that.
Breaking news.
That was, dude. We
Did
were
he
out front.
retire?
Huh?
Did he retire?
No,
Oh, that was
Russ. No, I reported that.
Yeah.
Dude, I was like,
Yeah.
he's frustrated there. Like,
Yeah.
this could be something.
But now that they are officially eliminated,
yeah.
what are they playing for? They're just out there.
And that was my concern is like, what is going to happen with him? And is he going to, so.
They're going to be making
Starting to see
business
it now.
decisions now.
Yeah.
Do I pull up?
And it's going to affect a lot of people.
Yeah. Obviously, he had that big game out of Pitts, but, two Dolphins with that Quinn Ewers now being the quarterback there and that being a mess. So, I mean, like I said, there's a lot there that could, really bad that could happen,
And that's, I guess that's, again, I feel like we're kind of dragging on here, but I think that's what I like about you four being in this spot is you guys are the four rosters that can withstand having to make these kind of last minute moves and it not feel like you just got two B teams playing against each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
these are still very formidable rosters.
The good thing about when we're sitting here talking about these rosters too is look how many guys we're talking about today that went out on the rosters 2 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago at the beginning of the season. And it shows you that if you're in there being active, doing your research, making the moves, you could very well have turned their season around or whoever it is.
Yeah.
So it's not like what happened at the beginning of the season, we just wrote it all the way to the end.
Right. No, and you're exactly right. And I want to go ahead and put this on camera, but I don't think we gave enough credit to the DJ Moore situation that you got going on right now.
I'm
And
hoping that
that might be something
Yeah.
that we were talking about next week as to why you're in the championship. So if so, kudos on that move. So I just wanted to touch on that real quick. I'm going to go with I know ball here, man. I think it's just a little bit too much for the Warden. I think he's had a great season, dude. But I think even at his best, he was right on I know's heels.
But I will say I don't anticipate the blowout. I could see. I'm not going to be surprised if Warden wins this. It's one of them kind of games. You can see it going either way.
I'm with you though. Whatever way it goes, I don't see it over 150.
No.
I could see you or Dan going over 150. I actually see your guys as a higher scoring game this week.
I do that this week also. But yeah, I'm calling this in the 120, 130 and pretty tight.
Yeah, I got you. I know.
What do you think, man?
Well, I mean, that's kind of where we're at. Hopefully we're talking about Super Bowl appearances next week. And one thing I talked about right when I got here today is next week for the first time, we're going to have a third place game. That is going to be for
money.
your money back or nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I like that. I like that. We have a
So
big
there
money
is
game,
still 2 games.
and we
that
got
matter
another
next week.
game where it's not both of them just playing to just be.
So yeah, keep that in mind next week. Myself, Dan, Braden, Scott, if you're out this week, you are still playing a meaningful game next week.
Yeah, third and
Set your
fourth is
lineups.
for one payout.
Yep.
Yeah. So keep that in mind. So that'll be fun next week. But I'm just anxious to see who kind of pulls this off. I think you guys kind of done a lot of strategy. It'll be interesting to see if we ever sit down and give this season the full respect it deserves, to kind of go back and look at some of your guys' past, to might be worth it to show some of these guys what it takes to get there, because just like you said, it's not drafting a team and then just riding it all the way. You're picking up players that you're putting into lineups and winning games in week 14 and
Some of
15.
this behind the scenes stuff, what we should do? Real Brothers production of Hard Knocks. Reunification style.
Fuck it. Let's do it. We're up for anything over here.
Hey, let's take a quick break and we'll circle back around and talk about that scoring thing we came up with.
Yes, got a lot of good stuff for you guys. Hang on just a sec.